very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. For the news first theme, I'm Yuki Portia. Before we head into stories in detail, let's start off with a look at this afternoon's headlines.
Half an hour power cut in several parts of the country today as well. Report by committee appointed to probe gas-related incidents due to be submitted to the President tomorrow. Pfizer for children between 12 and 15 years of age. Booster vaccine for apparel workers. Railway station masters unhappy with state of affairs. India's Harna Sandhu crowned Miss Universe 2021.
Miss Universe is India!
Starting off with your top story for this afternoon, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has prorogued Parliament with effect from midnight last night. Parliament will reconvene on the 18th of January 2022 at 10 a.m.
What is prorogation?
A prorogation is a temporary recess of Parliament. During the prorogation, the Speaker continues to function.
What happens after Parliament is prorogued?
Committees for special purposes cease to function during the recess or the prorogation of Parliament. However, all of them have to be reconstituted at the commencement of each session of Parliament, except the Committee on High Posts, Sectoral Oversight Committees and Select Committees of Parliament. When the new session begins on the 18th of January, the President will have the opportunity to ceremoniously recommence parliamentary sessions.
The Ministry of Power and Energy says that power will be cut off in several parts of the country for half an hour between 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. today as well.
Power and Energy Ministry spokesperson Sulakshana Jayawardena said that the power supply to the Newsfirst.lk coal power plant will be cut off until one generator is connected to the power grid. The power cut is also due to continue tomorrow. At present, 2 out of 3 generators at the Newsfirst.lk coal power plant are out of order.
Views were expressed in the political arena about the present situation of the Yugadanavi power plant deal or the LNG deal.
ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයට ඉදිරිපත් කළා තියෙන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉදිරිපත් උනේ දැන් අපසතුව තියෙන්නේ.
What was presented in Parliament was presented to the Supreme Court as well. What we have now is the agreement that was reached to sell the rights of the Yugadanavi power plant. There are several conditions included in this agreement when it comes to the supply of LNG to Sri Lanka by a sub-company of New Fortress Incorporate. When that authority is vested with them, it is New Fortress that decides whether they give us gas or not. When the people oppose the control price and when the government wants artificially increase the price of goods, they use rice mill owners to create a shortage. In the same way, New Fortress will now decide the price of gas in Sri Lanka. Selling the power plant is wrong. We are against this move by the government. Also, it is very wrong to vest the authority of supplying gas to a single company. What I'm asking from the Cabinet of Ministers is, even though it was not a cabinet that provided the approval to this agreement, now that it has been tabled in Parliament, read it through and decide from your heart. When have 3 cabinet ministers gone to court against their own cabinet of ministers? Which government was it? Which country was it? Ideally, they should give up their ministerial positions and go to court as independent MPs. Without any shame, they'll sit in the next cabinet as well. Is there a conspiracy by the government to mislead the people? They sit at the cabinet meeting. Equally, they go to courts against the cabinet.
Moving on, the report of the committee appointed by the President to investigate and resolve gas accidents is due to be handed over to the President tomorrow.
A member of the committee appointed by the President said that his committee had recently observed 19 gas-related fires in various parts of the country. In addition, the committee members inspected the 2 gas companies. The Presidential Committee made inquiries from the top management of the gas companies regarding the recent gas-related incidents.
A family was left in shock following the demise of a mother in Vilgamur who unfortunately succumbed following a gas-related accident, which relatives claim was the result of negligence by authorities.
52-year-old Ashoka Priyangani, a resident of Vilgamur, was a mother of 4. She would still be alive had responsible authorities taken action against the gas issue. What is the mistake she committed to losing her life at an unexpected time? The only thing she did was buy a gas cylinder to cook meals to feed her kids. Priyangani lived in a rented house in Nattaramputta in Kundasale for the convenience of her children's education. It was at this house that the tragic gas-related accident took place. For more than a week, she fought for her life at the National Hospital in Kandy, and she lost the battle, unfortunately.
Now there is a big scam going on about the gas. The gas cylinders which were returned were given a new seal without any inspection and given back to the people. Who are they trying to mislead? Intellects say that those who came to power by sacrificing the lives of the people have no value about life. That's how it is today when these gas explosions occur and when liquid fertilizer explodes. There aren't anyone to be held responsible. The government keeps stating that the country is no harm. The central bank has failed. The Minister of Finance has failed, and so has the President of our country. Our cabinet ministers are a group of people who will raise their hands to anything.
Now, during an SLPP press conference, journalists questioned the decision made by the President to prorogue Parliament.
It was not a sudden decision. Every president has exercised this power that is vested with him by the Constitution of Sri Lanka. This is the end of the year. The debate on the budget was completed. The Parliament has accepted it too. And next is a brand new year.
ජනවාරි මාසයේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට ගෙවන්න තියෙන විදේශ ණය වාරිකය නිසා මේ වගේ තීරණයක් ගත්තා කියලා.
There is no connection between the two. Sri Lanka's foreign debt is based on agreements with foreign agencies. This decision does not affect those agreements.
කිසිසේත් බලපාන්නේ නැහැ. පොක් කමිටුවට හරහා ගෙනාවු යම් තීරණ නිසාද මේ වගේ තීරණයක් ගත්තේ.
This is a parliamentary tradition. When a new session resumed, the committee will be reconstituted. Never in Sri Lankan history was there an occasion where the composition of the committee was maintained for the 5-year period. There's no practical issues with that. As per the provisions, when a question is raised, the minister must respond. So when Parliament resumes, the question can be posed again. That is the right of all MPs.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka said that all the banks have been instructed to pay 210 rupees for a US dollar exchange during December. The CBSL noted the facility is open for anyone who wishes to exchange $15,000 or more. Meanwhile, the announcement noted such foreign currency can be converted at any bank in Sri Lanka. The opportunity is also open to invest such foreign currency in Sri Lanka development bonds, depositing such currency into personal foreign currency accounts or special deposit account under the same exchange rates.
Governor of the Central Bank Ajit Niwad Cabral says the information circulating about him being summoned to the cabinet meeting this evening to discuss matters about obtaining assistance from the IMF are untrue. In a tweet, the governor of the Central Bank said the information had circulated as a result of questions raised by the opposition. He further noted that this is a part of misinformation campaign to cause uncertainty.
There is no special cabinet meeting. It is the usual cabinet meeting that will happen today. The Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, the CBSL Governor will not participate. Both the officials were not invited to the cabinet meeting.
Chairman of the Station Masters Association, Sumedha Somaratna, stated at a media briefing today that all station masters are preparing to launch a strike action.
The purpose of the strike is to protest against the failure to repair weak signal systems, adding dilapidated compartments for travel and endangering the lives of passengers. The Station Masters Association says steps will be taken to stop issuing speed limit orders tomorrow.
There
are ample amounts of train compartments in the department. Are they deploying dilapidated train compartment to create a negative image about the government? Why are they putting the lives of the general public at risk like this? Are they doing this to discourage the general public from travelling on trains? Are they doing this to privatize the department? The shared suspicions that arise. The train signals along the Matara Beliyatta and the Anuradhapura Talaimana are malfunctioning and it has not been repaired for the past 2 days. If these things are not rectified, the station masters will launch a strike action on the night of the 26th, which is a Sunday. We want to protect the lives of the people who travel on trains and we want these issues rectified. If not, we will be on strike.
In more local news, the Ceylon Teachers Union stated at a media briefing held in Colombo that there is a risk of higher education being privatized.
උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය
We saw the president speaking at the graduation ceremony of the Kotolawala University with the idea that the higher education should be privatized. In fact, we are hearing that the present Minister of Education, Dinesh Gunawardena, who was in charge of the higher education, was not present when the president made such a statement. He was a person who continued to be with us as an opposition MP, speaking at meetings of the struggle against the Saitam University. What is the stance of the Minister of Higher Education now? The president clearly mentioned that the lack of infrastructure facilities at the state universities has become a serious issue, and he said that therefore private universities have to be built. If there is a lack of infrastructure facilities at state universities, what the president should do is to improve and strengthen the state universities and not the option to create private universities.
The Vaccine Advisory Committee has approved the administration of the Pfizer vaccine to all children between the ages of 12 and 15.
The Ministry of Health has decided last week to provide the first dose to children above the age of 12 and the second dose to children who have already received the first dose who are above the age of 12. The relevant guidelines in this regard have been issued by the Directorate of Health Services to the Ministry of Education, and those will be decided in the coming days. This will most probably take place during the upcoming week. The guidelines to vaccinate those who have received both doses and above the age of 18 with the third dose at factories and at institutional level have been issued already.
තුන්වන මාත්‍රාව ලබා ගැනීමට අවශ්‍ය මාර්ගෝපදේශ දැනටම නිකුත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, another 714 COVID-19 cases were identified in the country yesterday. Accordingly, the total number of patients reported from the country is 572,902. Another 19 deaths are confirmed by the Director General of Health Services yesterday. The total number of COVID-19 deaths reported from Sri Lanka stands at 14,614.
Sports news: Australia fast bowler Josh Hazlewood has been ruled out of the second Ashes test against England at Adelaide, which begins on Thursday.
Hazlewood, who is third in the International Cricket Council's test bowling rankings, has a rib injury. He did not bowl for much of England's second innings in Australia's first test victory in Brisbane. Cricket Australia said, quote, Hazlewood returned to Sydney for further assessment and rehabilitation. A decision on his fitness for the Boxing Day test will be made in due course, end quote. No announcement has been made on his replacement for the Adelaide test yet.
And with that, it's a wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Miyuki Pasha. Take care and good day.